Hello YouTube, this is Woo854 again. Bringing you another gun-related video. Many of you have seen my gun-related videos on here and know how I stand on the side of gun ownership. I also stand on the side of being against this current ban that is trying to be pushed down America's throat by a zombie who looks half dead, Dianne Feinstein. First off, she needs to retire because she has more wrinkles and ridges than the Grand Canyon. And somehow she still thinks she is cool enough and able enough to make laws for the common American. False. Anyway, enough of that. Here comes the argument. You do not need assault weapons. First off, I don't own any assault weapons, and neither do the majority of Americans in this country. But what we do own are semi-automatic rifles that are called assault weapons because the government is too ignorant to call them anything else, or what they properly are, semi-automatic rifles. The government will tell you that these assault weapons are capable of railing off millions of rounds and murdering the whole world in 5 minutes. This is simply not true. They have constructed this simply because they want complete power and complete control. The America we have now is not the same America that was founded in 1776, when we wrote the Constitution, when we had the amendments. The reason that we separated from Britain and told them to, quote-unquote, go jump off, was because they infringed on our freedoms. Now they realized that the First Amendment was very important. The freedom of press, the freedom of speech. What I am doing right now, I am exercising my First Amendment. Well, it's very easy for somebody to take that First Amendment away, unless you have a contingency plan for the First Amendment. That was the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment was made so that we could defend ourselves and we could support our own Constitution and the amendments that followed. The Second Amendment completely supports all of these because it allows us to have firearms and have the ownership of firearms to protect ourselves from said tyrannical governments and anyone that may want to do us, our family, or our friends harm. The government now, primarily the liberals that are pushing for all this, apparently need reading glasses because they like to read between the lines, which I've got a few lines they could read between. That's an old joke. Some may get it, some may not. Continuing on. They want to read between the lines and they want to interpret it the way that they want to interpret it to push their agenda to disarm us and have complete control over us and make us their little minions and make us do everything they want. They live in lavish homes. They have private security forces who are, by the way, armed with fully automatic weapons, to which most of us do not have the access to. But yet they are hypocritical enough to say that we can't own those same weapons. Recently had someone say to me, well, you don't need an AR-15 or an AK-47 or any of these other weapons that they're wanting to ban to defend your house. Well, that may be true. You also don't need a car like the Shelby Supercar's Ultimate Aero that goes 256 miles per hour either. You can ride a freaking bicycle. But, do you want to ride a bicycle everywhere? No, just like I don't want to use a .22 pistol to defend myself against somebody that might break in with an AR-15 or with a 12-gauge shotgun. If I have the right to have the bigger gun, I'm going to have it. You don't need a vehicle that goes 256 miles per hour and weighs A ton and a half! But this is America. And until it changes, you still have that right. So don't come with me on that argument. You have no leg to stand on. It's foolish. Gun deaths. Recent statistics that I have found, which was 2009 at the latest, 10.2 per 100,000 people. There are medical tests that have side effects, and that's an acceptable range for the medicine to be considered safe for distribution by the FDA. 3.7 of those were homicide related. We'll round that to 4. And 6.1 of those were suicide related. We'll round that to 6. 6 to 4 ratio. 6 being suicide, 4 being homicide. So 4 of those people killed other people. 6 of those 10 people killed themselves, which they wanted to do in the first place. How is that the gun's fault? It's not like the gun said, "Hey, Bob, why don't we kill you today? You should just kill yourself today." And the gun walked itself over to the table where Bob was sitting at, and he put it in his mouth and pulled the trigger. I've never heard of that happening, and if I ever do, well, we've got bigger problems than gun control. Because robots are taking over. I digress. That is so foolish. It is so foolish to think that a mere tool is responsible for what the people do. A person stands behind a firearm when you fire it. It never fires itself. Well, you can drop guns and they'll go off. Case in point, the person dropped it. Their fault. The gun didn't jump off the table, and the hammer didn't hit the firing pin and shoot somebody on its own accord. Someone made that happen. There was an outside force that acted upon that. People, this argument of banning certain firearms to make us safer is stupid. If people want to commit crimes, they'll use the other firearms that aren't banned. You cannot just take away certain parts and add and subtract and do what you want for your own agenda. That's not the Constitution. The Constitution was written and it was ratified. That's it. Okay? That's it. There's no reason for there to ever be any kind of translating going on with it. There's no reason that we should go, well, let's see if we can't see what they really meant. They wrote what they meant. Take it at face value. We don't have to deep think into it. It's there. It says what it says. That's it. It doesn't say, well, in 100 years, when we develop machine guns, Americans can't have those. They knew that we were going to develop weapons further in technology than what they had then. Because guess what? History told them 100 years before, firearms weren't that popular, and now they were starting to get that way. More people were using them, and they were developed to better protect people. Okay. They also built Washington, D.C. with a pentagram from an aerial view using certain very important buildings. They also made the Freemasons symbol in that they knew 100 years before we had air flight we were going to have it because people were going to develop new technologies. They figured we could fly one day. You have to think that they knew we were going to develop more advanced weapons as well. And if you don't, you're closed-minded and just go jump somewhere. I don't know. Just go somewhere not in America. Go to a different country. If you don't feel that freedom is important and you want to be a mindless minion, move to another country. We don't need you here. Like I said, you don't need a car that goes that fast. If someone breaks into my house with an AR-15, I want an AR-15 to defend myself with. Just saying. I want to have an equal chance of defending myself. So, assault weapons ban, again. All it is a foothold law. Whenever the government gets a foothold on something, they're going to push it as far as they possibly can. So, once they get this passed through, they'll try to pass something else, and they'll try to pass something else, and eventually, you won't be able to go to the toilet without having to have a government official's approval. If you let them take certain parts of their freedom, especially as important as this, there's nothing to stop them from taking all the rest of it. You don't have guns, they'll take anything they want. Hitler did the same thing. He disarmed the people, did what he wanted, killed 6 million Jews. Guess that's not a problem to most people out there that think gun control's cool. I guess you believe that the Holocaust was okay, huh? It's an acceptable loss. Or it just didn't really happen. You're one of those type of people. Really? You want to gripe and complain about the 26 kids that got killed, which was awful? It was terrible. It never should have happened. The person that did it was evil. But yet, you want to strip us of our rights just like Hitler did and possibly lead to mass genocide? Because, oh, that'll never happen in America. Yeah, that's what those people thought that would never happen in Germany either. They thought Hitler was going to protect them. People lie. People deceive. They do it to get what they want every day. The government's not above it. They've done it plenty of times before. How many scandals have we had in the past that were revealed, and presidents and other government officials were given the boot because of it? Clinton got a blowjob underneath his desk and lied about it. Why would they not lie about protecting us and saying that, oh, well, the government's going to make everything okay? Really? Come on, people. Jesus. Anyway, if you think that the 6 million Jews dying was okay, then you must believe in gun control. Because you don't want to have a right to defend yourself, and that's perfectly okay with you. You want to be a mindless slave to society. That's fine for you, not fine for me. I don't want to be a mindless slave. I don't want to be a slave at all. I want to be free. I want to be free to have AR-15s, AK-47s. Do I need it? No. Do I want it? Yes. That's all that matters. I'm free. Don't try to cage me in. The assault weapons ban will not work if it's passed, because it didn't work in '94. It's not going to work again. Gun crimes have actually gone down from studies. And the ones that you do see are the ones where people mass murder people. The news never puts a story on about how a concealed carry weapons permit holder stopped a crime or saved someone's life. Never see it on the news, do you? Because that's not newsworthy. It's not drama. Why do you think every show on TV now is a reality show? Because people can't get enough. They can't live their own lives. Their own lives suck so bad they have to live a dramatic life through the TV screen of quote-unquote reality, which is horse crap because it's all made up anyway. The news media knows that drama sells. Drama gets them ratings. Putting a crying child on there, putting people that are grieving, that want to have private grief, they plaster their photos on the news channel of someone that just lost their 6-year-old child because it gets them ratings. How heartless is that? And yet they want to say they want to promote gun control? How hypocritical. You understand why I get aggravated. Because it's like walking up on the street corner and shooting somebody in the head and going, I believe in gun control. That's basically what they're doing. They're fulfilling their own agenda. They're plastering innocent victims on TV because it gets them better ratings and because more people are going to watch their news channel. That's why they post all these really emotional stories that touch at the heartstrings. They make you mad. They make you want to act. But they never post the fact that some guy, some homie G gangster thug who thought he was Billy Badass, walks into a convenience store with his finger in his jacket and wants to rob the place, and an off-duty police officer or a concealed carry weapons permit holder pulls a .38 special out and tells him, "You better get the hell out of here before I use this." No, you don't ever hear about that, do you? Because that doesn't sell. The good guy doesn't sell as good as the bad guy does. Being infamous is more important than being famous. That's why it doesn't sell. That's why you don't see it, because the government controls the media and vice versa. They all have their own agendas, and that agenda is they want to do what they want to do and everybody else can go to hell. That's the government agenda. That's gun control for you. They can have armed guards. They can have gated communities. You can't have anything to defend yourself worthwhile but a .22. How do you like that? How's that make you feel? That piss you off? Sure does me. People, I don't know how in the world you can be a gun control advocate and still be an advocate of freedom. They're like two heads butting against each other. Gun control versus freedom. And you're just going to butt heads with it. When you try to push one against the other, you're not going to get anywhere. The way it is now is fine with me. In fact, if it was a little bit more lenient, that'd be okay too. There's millions of guns at gun shows around this United States of America when there's gun shows every weekend. And the last time I heard of a gun show massacre was, well, I've been on this earth for 23 years, and I haven't heard one since I've been alive. I may be mistaken, but I haven't heard of anybody walking into a gun show and just mowing people down like it was Christmas. But remember, guns are evil. Because it totally makes sense that guns are evil whenever there's 1,000 of them in one building and not one person dies. People, you need to use your brains. We are not monkeys. We are not primitive animals. We are human beings capable of thought. We have advanced technologies, advanced medical care, treatments, and cures for certain diseases that 20 years ago we never knew we'd be able to cure, but yet we've done it. Because we used our brains, and we didn't go,
oh, well, I guess we're just gonna all die of this disease. There's nothing we can do about it. Let's just let it'll do what it wants.
Just like people are gonna go,
well, the government's gonna do what they want. I guess gun control's okay. Guns are evil.
Really? Do you have a cement for brain? Do you have a few rocks loose in there? Use your head, people. They want you to be mindless. They want you to not think. They want to have complete control of you. So if you let them do this, they're only going to do more of it. That's all I have to say. If you can't use your brain, you're not going to get this message in the first place. So hopefully the people that actually listen to what I say are the ones that are thinkers, that are doers, that are ones that want to be free. Thank you.